Hey guys, welcome back to Football Index Moneyball. Today we have the third instalment in the Pick of the Day series, and for today's pick we have another young, exciting player who falls into the undiscovered wonder kid category. Now I hadn't planned to do this video today, but there's been a couple of developments that made me decide to change my pick and bring this guy up. He was someone I was planning on getting to eventually, but I thought I had a little bit more time. So I wanted to get this one out to you just in case there was any big price movements in the next week, so you'd have a chance to possibly get invested. There's a few reasons that I'll explain later on that could affect his price in the next week or two. So the pick that I've gone for today is Luca Pellegrini. He's a 20-year-old left back who's playing on loan at Cagliari from Juventus. If we look at his 1 year graph, we can see that he has risen a fair amount already from 30p to 54p. But for most players on the index, that's kind of a standard rise. That's not. I wouldn't say he's had his explosion. If you get my meaning in that. If you've seen my how I made 12k in my first year video, you'll see on there what I mean by explosion. Certain players, once they get noticed, the price can triple in a very, very short amount of time. And Luca Pellegrini has actually just been picked for the Italy senior international squad for the upcoming Euro qualifiers. Now, I don't think he's going to play, but that might give him enough exposure to highlight him to some traders who would then start pumping him. And once the name comes to the top of the list on the increase in players on the index, most people tend to Google the player who's trending and find out the reason why. So to start with, we'll take a look at Luca's transfer mark. You can see here he's got 3 trophies. Those are all youth trophies that he won with Roma's youth team a couple of years ago. Also, something to notice is he's got 7 caps for the Italy under-20 side. Now, for me, that's a good sign because it means they've skipped him through the under-20s pretty quickly and got him into the first team. And the reason I think they're doing that is to prepare him for the Euros in summer. I think they want to take him as a backup for Emerson, possibly even play if he has a good season. But Emerson's pretty good player, so I think that's maybe a big ask. But I think if he's in the squad for the Euros, that'll have a real positive effect on his price if you wanted to hold him that long. The next thing I'll point out, and he signed in July 1st of this year for Juventus, and he signed for £20 million. So that's a lot of money for a 20-year-old left back. While we've got this list up here, I just want to run through a couple of the comparable players. So Jamal Lewis, Norwich City, he plays in England, so he's got a little bit more exposure, but he's not in the national side yet, so it's unlikely he's going to be going to the Euros in summer. So I would say, in reality, and he plays at Norwich, who don't play in the Champions League and most likely won't play in the Champions League. So Luca Pellegrini is going to be going back to Juventus next summer, and he's going to have a good chance of playing in the Champions League before long. But anyway, Jamal Lewis is trading at £1 right now, and the other comparable player on this list that I think is worth looking at is Juan Miranda. He's a Barcelona academy player who's just gone on loan to Schalke for 2 years, and he's trading at 81p, and he's not really had much exposure to the first team. So I'd say, again, I think if anything, Luca Pellegrini is better in terms of an investment and what you're going to get from him than these two players. The one that possibly you could compare him to as well is Renan Lodi at Atletico Madrid. Lodi's trading at 92p, and he's a pretty similar player, but I think he's a little bit older. Now we'll take a look at the stats from 18-19 for Pellegrini. You can see here he's got 16 games where he had 2 assists. I think 3 or 4 of those games came for Roma before I went on loan. So 4 games for Roma, and then the rest of them came for Cagliari. And as you can see, he actually started quite a lot of games once he got to Cagliari. That's a good sign considering he's gone back there again this year. Hopefully he'll continue to start. He didn't start the first game, which is probably a good thing because it's kept his price low. But they play again on Sunday, and I think once he starts in a game, he'll probably go up straight away. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the in-play dividend fixtures that are coming up for Luca Pellegrini. There is actually quite a few games. If you were to buy him tomorrow, I'm recording this on the 30th of August, so if you bought him on the 31st of August, as far as I can tell, I think there's going to be 7 games that would qualify if you include the 2 international fixtures. So I'm just going to leave this up here if you want to pause it, or you can just Google the fixtures yourself. But as you'll see here, there's also 2 Euro qualifiers, which are also eligible for the in-play dividends and the performance buzz. For me, the main thesis for buying the player is just price appreciation. He got 2 assists last year, but that's not really what I'm interested in. I think just game time is what it takes for him to go up in value, and awareness, general awareness of the fact that there's a £20 million left back who Juventus have signed and sent out on loan. I think when people hear that, they're going to take notice, and his price is going to go up pretty quick. So I know we took a look at some comparable players already, but this is the one comparable player that I think is actually a really close match. So Achraf Hakimi is a Real Madrid player on loan at Borussia Dortmund for 2 years. He had a good season last year. He played quite a lot of games. He's not getting as much game time this season because they signed a new left back. But as you can see, he's £1.23. He's 21 years old. So he's on loan from Real Madrid, playing in another Champions League team. So that is probably a little bit in his favour. And he has already proved himself. But I think that's definitely a price point that I would see as a target for the end of this season for Luca Pellegrini. And if he gets into the Euros, then I'm pretty confident that that's the kind of range he's going to be sitting in. So that should just about do it for today's video. I'm going to continue to try and keep these videos a little bit shorter and not go into the detail of the research that I've done. I'm just trying to keep things a bit more concise, but there's definitely a lot of background research that goes into these picks other than what I show on the video. So if anyone does have any questions on that, just let me know. If you missed the first 2 videos in the series, those 2 players are still hovering around the same price, so they're definitely worth looking at because those are still good options to buy, especially if you're new to the index. It's easy to get sucked into the trap of just buying the famous players who you think are going to be good players, but the video series is meant to find players that are going to offer you a good chance for a profit with very low risk. And there's also my first year on the index, how I managed to make 12,000. That's a bit more detailed video, and I've had some good feedback on that one, so be sure to check that out. Also, I'm going to be doing follow-up series on these videos, so every pick is going to have a 30-day review, probably a 90-day review, and then maybe a 1-year review, just to go back and look at the picks, and then we can keep track of how we've been doing with the picks so far. That should be really interesting. I'm looking forward to getting to that 30-day mark and having a look at what's happened in the index with the ones that I've chosen. And hopefully that'll give people watching the videos a bit of comfort that the players I'm picking are actually of good value and do offer a good return. Finally, if you got any value or entertainment from this video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you hit the bell icon, then you can be notified when the new videos come out. There's going to be lots of these player picks. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit time dependent, similar to this one, where you could make a bit of extra profit if you can get in there quickly. So it would be worth setting up those notifications if you're interested. And the other thing is I'm going to put a link for Football Index to sign up with my referral code. And if you enjoyed the video and you like the content, then you'd be doing me a favour. So that would be appreciated. Thanks for watching and good luck on the index this weekend.